Good evening, everyone here from China. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for joining us in this third edition of OChat, featuring the Find and to Flip. I'm so happy to have you guys here today. And I'm really happy that in such a short time, we get so many incredible members to join us in such a session. For those of you who haven't heard about OChat or who are joining this session for the first time, let me briefly introduce to you about the OChat. OChat is actually an open forum connecting OPPO and its users. We'd love to invite staff members who are working behind the product to have some direct conversations with you guys. So I think it's a perfect platform for anyone who has opinion about the product, about the tech behind it, to speak up about anything you like to share. And I think for our internal staff members, it's also a brilliant chance to know more about users' perspective, because many times it's very difficult to get some real direct conversations. And since most of the times they are either doing laboratories or reading the reports from our other consumer insight departments. Yeah, without further ado, I'd like to share the screen with you guys, but this whole session, I'd love to see more face-to-face conversation. I will not share the PowerPoints the whole time. I noticed we have our final participants joining this minute. Thank you. So we are complete. Let's get started. Can you guys see the PowerPoints I'm sharing? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, this is our third edition. In the previous two editions, we had one with a Reno 8 series last September upon the launch of our OPPO global community. And as you can see from the screenshot, Anna was also with us in that round, and we had a very casual first inaugural edition of this Reno 8 series and really collect some valuable feedbacks. And the second edition was about a product that is still yet to be defined. I think we are also trying to know more about what the users need in terms of a home robotic product. So in that session, we discussed a lot. Actually, we did some very detailed discussions in terms of this, the needs, the user cases of this product. And today, I'd like to introduce you about the agenda, which I also shared with you through email. I think the focus is about the topic discussions, but before we jump into these topics, I'd still like to do some ice-breaking sessions to let everyone know each other more, and also based on our survey results and also the inputs from all the people who show their interest about N2Flip, we would love to share these three topics with you. Yeah, let's start with a self-introduction round from the lovely members. So I noticed all of you are here now. So I picked all your profile pictures here. I hope you don't mind. I would love to invite Anmo Kaka. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, to give us your self-introduction. Now the mic is yours.
Thank you. As you said, hi everyone. My name's Anmol. I am a member of the community team from India. I'll keep it very short and quick. It's very nice to meet you all. I am a director in a customer experience organization, and I'm very passionate about the smartphone industry and the developments within. I was recently a part of the lab review of the OnePlus 11 as well. And I happen to be checking the the OPPO community along with that. So I recently joined that, and I was very happy that I was chosen to be a part of this discussion. And yeah, with that, I'll pass on to the next one. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Anmo. And also thank you for showing your interest to join in the OPPO global community. I think you noticed that you are the only one who haven't tried out the OPPO product yet, but you apparently are using the latest Samsung product. And we picked you as one of our 6 participants because we also would love to know those of the users who haven't tried OPPO products and showed a strong interest to know more about us. So welcome. Now I'd like to invite Alpaca. The mic is yours.
You're muted, mate.
Alpaca, you muted.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that. I was talking. I was
Alright.
talking. Hey, I'm Alpaca from Dallas, Texas, and I like going out in nature, hiking, basically being outdoors as much as possible. I'm a lover of smartphones as well. Ever since I think my love of smartphones and switching around to different smartphones started in around 2014. Around I think like the Galaxy S3 from Samsung, also OnePlus One came out, and I really fell in love with that phone. And then ever since, I've been like addicted to smartphones, trying different smartphones. And I found the OPPO community. Basically, last year, I've used OPPO phones in the past. I tried out an OPPO Find X2 Pro. It's the one with the vegan leather back. I believe it was like an orange color. Yeah, and that was the last OPPO that I've gotten to try out in the US. I had to import that actually. With the new OPPO phones, I'm very interested in hopefully getting a chance to try those out eventually one day. And I really like the OPPO community. I joined a few months ago after I had a few friends, I believe it's Miguel. He actually recommended me to the community as well. So hopefully, sorry, I talked a little bit too much, I think. So
No, not at all. Yeah, thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah, I can see your passion for smartphones. I hope your addition to smartphones is not getting stronger because of the N2 Flip.
oh yeah, I'm like super addicted. Like I want to buy every phone that comes out, honestly. So
Okay, then let's hope for the best that you can have some digital detox while
right.
still staying every day in our community. Okay, welcome Alpaca. Thank you for
Thank you.
getting up this early, despite you only slept like for 2 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Our next guest is Tor from UK. The mic is yours.
Hi everyone, nice to be here. Thanks for having me. So I'm Tor. I'm from London in the UK, and I used to be a OPPO user years ago and wasn't keen on it. And I went to other brands and recently came back out of luck, really, and tried the Reno 8 Pro and really loved it in the first place. So I thought, okay, well, I'll go on the community, say a little thanks. And that was, I don't know, a month ago or so, and I've been quite heavy since. The community blew my mind, even more than the phone did. I absolutely love it there, and it's absolutely brilliant to be able to have those questions to the people who make the products answered, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, thank you, Tor. So we are switching the audio. Yeah, thank you. I noticed Sue should be safely arrived. He's joining this minute. Okay, let's move on to Kyle, and let's give Sue the last welcome. The mic is yours, Kyle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle. So my background, I used to be a software engineer for about a decade and an engineering manager. Over the past couple of years, I've kind of transitioned that to being a full-time content creator, talking about a lot of tech products and how things work and things like that. Fairly recently introduced to OPPO, but like other people, always been super interested in tech and smartphones. And it's been really interesting to see the progression in OPPO products for me over the past few years, because I do think that there has been a significant one. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, I can see you guys are all tech geeks or fans over the years. So today is the chance to discuss about the new form factor. I believe this will be an exciting 2 hour with you. Okay, let's invite our one and only female representative, our Alia. The mic is yours.
Hi guys, I'm Alia. I think if you're in community, I mean, you have been familiar with me. Now I'm the product ambassador for Find and to Flip, so I've been using it for 2 months now. I'm a photographer, so mainly I use my smartphone to take photos and also do some editings on it. Basically, I'm doing everything on my phone. So yeah, I think I don't know what else I want to introduce. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Alia will share more. She's a little bit tense this minute. I know her. Okay, I checked that Sue is safely arrived, and hopefully you are not starving. I know you are also from the same time zone. Now the mic is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Zulfakar. You can call me Zul. So before this, actually I'm one of the OPPO product ambassador for OPPO Find X5. So yeah, I'm also active in OPPO community. So currently I'm working as a content executive, but then I have I mean I like to take pictures using mobile phones. So yeah, I'm still learning to hone my skills in photography and all. And then I've been to OPPO Find to Flip launch for EPEC in Singapore. And then I got the first-hand experience on the device, and yeah, I'm gonna ask questions after this. I think, and then yes, I would love to know more about this device. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Zul. Yeah, today is a good chance to know more about the device and also to know more about each other. I think that for the whole tech sector, there are a lot of things to know more about, but always, many times, it's not about the specs, it's not about the features, it's about how we perceive this and what we really want, what we really need. So thank you for taking these 2 hours with us. Let me move on to the introduction part from us. So as you can see, we also have a profile picture and it's also authentic profile pictures we use internally. Maybe I'd also love to invite all my colleagues to give a brief introduction. Anna, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. I think you need to update your internal profile picture. You're the only one not sharing a face.
Yeah, that's a shame. I will explain.
Okay, so great meeting all of you guys here in this platform today. I'm Arne. I'm based in Germany in the European headquarter from OPPO here. Just to give it a bit of context, now with OPPO for 2 years, doing product management, doing product marketing, and really trying to look into the things that we're going to do in the near future, in the far future, what people want, what the community wants, what you want from us, and trying to understand that and serve you guys better where possible. You might have seen me on stage for the Find and to Flip launch in Europe. I wasn't able to travel to Singapore. I wish I would. My colleagues went there. So you saw Peter on stage, you saw Nora on stage. I missed that opportunity, but next time, hopefully, I'll be able to go to Singapore as well.
Yeah, let's wish Anna good luck to have some Asian trips in the upcoming, in this year, hopefully. Yeah, welcome, Anna. My second our second staff guest today is Kaijun. Kaijun, the mic is yours. Kaijun will be doing this session in Chinese, and my colleague Ryan is going to do the translation for him. Kaijun, can you hear us?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello，
No
大
worries.
家晚上好，我是负责N2 Flip的硬件工程师开军，然后很高兴有机会和 海外的朋友一起交流关于一些 NR Flip 的一些硬件的相关知识。然后我的背景图片是我最近去一个我们工作的一个湖边的一个照片。然后我们这边的话，春天已经来临了。然后现在天气的话也很暖和的。然后你那边，就是我们在前期就是关于 NR Flip 的一些相关知识，我们其实在前期的一些调研或者是走访过程中发现的话，就是说用户对折叠屏的关注的话，往往是关注折痕呀、弯折次数这些东西，然后以及它的一些续航。然后我们在前期的硬件的一些选型和那个配置的过程中的话，就重点围绕我们的 NR Flip 的续航，然后温升、充电等问题进行一些攻关，然后让我们的一个折叠机成为一个成为一个主力机。对。
Okay, you can hear some Chinese 101 here, and you can also see Cao Kaijing is a hardcore hardware expert. So the mic is yours, Ryan.
Hello everyone, my name is Cao Kaijing, and I am a hardware engineer in OPPO, and I was responsible for front-end to Flip. As you can see in my profile picture, this picture was taken recently, and now it's springtime for us, and the climate is getting warmer. Actually, in our development process for N2 Flip, we made many surveys before, and we found out many audience and consumers were concerned about the craze and how many times a phone can be folded. So in our hardware selection and configuration, we put a lot emphasis and attention to solve these relevant concerns so that we can deliver a good experience to our users.
Thank you, Ryan. My third guest is Han from the ColorOS team. He's actually the guy who's planning the Flip software side. So the mic is yours.
Okay, hello, hello guys. I'm Han, and I'm a designer in the ColorOS team and based in Shenzhen, China. And similar to Cal, I also have been working as a designer for a decade. And in OPPO, I've been working on the foldable phones since Find N series. So, and also a couple of phones that couldn't make it to the public. But now I'm actually focusing on the Flip series. That's it.
Thank you, Han. I'm more than curious about the phones that couldn't make to the public. I believe you guys are also quite interested. Yeah, okay. Now it's my turn. Yeah, I should answer the question from Honor why I didn't use my personal face in my profile. Is actually Chinese calligraphy. I've been practicing Chinese calligraphy since I was 6, and what was written there is our mission: technology for mankind, kindness for the world. I do this job in the community with this strong belief that this is a really good mission for all tech companies. As some of you might know, a lot of big tech companies or other big companies are doing something tech for good, but how this has to do with kindness. I think we kind of found the balance between, and we are on our way to achieve that. So I do hope with our work with you guys in the community, we can achieve that some way. Okay, here I also put the devices we are using. I believe you also noticed that I have a story to share. I'm one of the 6 lucky guys within OPPO, entire OPPO, to win the first prize, which is the Find N2. So I've been a happy user of Find N2 since 3 months, almost 3 months. I've been very happy with this change to the foldables. Yeah, thank you. Now, I'd like to invite our 2 interpreters to do a brief introduction. Claire, the mic is yours.
Hi, everyone, it's Claire. I joined in OPPO about 2 years ago. I used to work in a vehicle company. So even though I am a girl, I really passionate about some technology and specs. And the photo you see on my profile is shot by OnePlus 9 Pro. It's quite decent, right? And I also impressed by Find N2 Flip. And maybe after today's section, I would like to change it as my next major phone. Thank you.
Yeah, we would love to know your whether you are changing to the Flip afterwards. Okay, my final guest is sitting next to me. Beside me, Ryan. The mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan, and I have joined OPPO in 2019. And OPPO gave me my first job. And actually, I enjoyed working here. And my current mobile phone I'm using is a Find X3 Pro, and I have a very good experience with it. And I hope all our users can enjoy the same experience I'm having. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I noticed you're using Find X3 Pro, which is also a classic of us. Okay, that's all for our introduction. And I hope this ice-breaking session let you guys know more about each other, because it's a 2-hour conversation. It's an old chat. It's a chat room. It's a casual conversations. We don't want it to be too formal. So that's why we'd love to do some catch up. Okay, let's move on to the mini keynotes from our 3 staff members. I'd like to start with Anna. Why are we actually developing Find N2 Flip? The mic is yours.
The mini keynote, well, very well prepared, of course. Do you want to do you want to keep the sharing? Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no worries.
We have an overview of all your faces.
So much easier to see everyone. What was my topic? Why did we do the Find N2 Flip? That happens when you stop sharing. So I think Find N2 Flip, I mean, I guess a lot of you guys are familiar with the story that we have been sharing during the keynote as well, that we started to get into the whole foldable game quite a while ago, about 5 years ago. But back then we decided that it's not yet ready for the public. So we've been developing foldable phones for 5 years, flip phones for 4 years now, starting with the first prototype. But it took us a while to get a device, the Find N2 Flip, which we thought is the experience that we're after, and where we thought that this is what people really expect from a flip form factor. Why are we doing flip specifically? I think this is a bit different again. So foldables, let's start with that. Why do we do foldables? Because we see that it allows us to be more responsive to user needs, or to that sounds fancy. I should not write that down. So we are with if you look back for the last 10 years or something, every smartphone was just a candy bar design. Every smartphone was the same, pretty boring, flat screen on the front, camera on the back. You know the deal. This was not necessarily because people wanted it. So there was no one standing up saying, I want to have that form factor. It was just form follows function, and there was no other opportunity. So during all that time, none of us in the industry, including OPPO, including me, was really able to tell whether it's the right thing to do or not, right? So no one was thinking and challenging whether the ergonomics of a candy bar design of a flat device is the best we could do, or if it's the best that people could cope with. We all used those devices. We all get used to it, and we somehow managed to get away with it. But now is a new chapter. So with the foldable technology, no matter that is flip or fold or rollable, with flexible displays, we now have the unique opportunity to work with the users and to really understand from a human design perspective as well. And I think Han can talk about human design even better than I can. We now have the opportunity to understand like what people really want and what they might be able to use and need, and how things could be different. And I think this is why, one of the reasons why we started developing foldables, to understand and to see whether these could be potentially a better future for the smartphone candy bars, or if not a better one, maybe it's just a different one. So I think that to preempt that, and I think the question might come later on because everyone is asking that question all the time, whether like foldables is the only future. I think it's just one future. Flip is one future, fold is one future, candy bars is one future. The beauty is that now not every user has to use the same device anymore in the same form factor, and everyone can really adapt to what works best in your digital life. And I think this is the beauty of the form factor, and this is what we are trying to achieve with a flip to cater for potentially different users and different needs. So I'm really, really curious to learn about your needs and what do you think the form factor should do versus another device?
Yeah, thank you, Anna, for this excellent mini keynote. Yeah, let me go back to my PowerPoint slide to let you guys know our second topic. So is from Kaijun, our hardware expert. He is as you previously might notice, is a engineer for more area, but actually he's an expert of all areas of hardware. So he'd love to share developing the N2 Flip beyond hardware specs, especially about the big batteries and also the flexible printed circuit board. Now the mic is yours.
是在我们 NR Flip 的电池的话，最大容量目前是4300毫安时的一个电池容量。然后其实这个电池容量的话，其实可以媲美市面上绝大多数的直板机。然后而且我们目前的一个续航的话，1.1天也是我们当初立项式的定的一个目标，就是说我们一定要达到一个给用户一个直板机的续航和那个充电体验。其实这个最开始我们从
我们在这停一下好不好？ It's too hardcore. I should give Ryan some time to do the translation.
So firstly, our N2 Flip actually has a battery with a capacity of 4,300 milliampere hour. It's on par with many bar phones nowadays on the market. And we also achieved the expected target of delivering 1.1 day of use time to our users with one charge.
对，大家可以看到我这个，这是我们的一个内部的布局图哈。然后因为我们中间是转轴，相对直板机来说的话，我们转轴会占用了电池的一个绝大部分空间，所以说我们要把电池容量做大的话，我们也和几个工程师，然后做了大量的一个堆叠和一个共创的一个工作。
As you may see in my video, this is the internal structure of an N2 Flip. You can see the hinge takes a lot of areas inside this device. So we have cooperated with many engineers from different teams and departments for the stacking and co-designing to ensure an sufficient battery volume.
对，就是最后的话，最后的结果其实最后的结果也是很好的。然后通过我们这些共创的话，也让我们的最初目标4300毫安时1.01天的续航，也是最终达到我们的一个目标。
So the overall result is very favorable and ideal. After all our cooperations and efforts, we achieved the previous target for the battery capacity and the use time.
对，另外的话，我还想介绍一下我们的一个 Super Work， 可能有的那个朋友用过我们的 Super Work 的话，都知道我们有60瓦，然后有65瓦，然后有33瓦，但是我们N2 Flip 的话，这次新开了一个44瓦。其实这个的话，为了这个充电功率的话，也是我们一个独一的就是我们 N2 Flip 新增加的一个充电功率。然后其实最开始我们定义产品的话，我们设置的我们和产品达成的一个充电功率的话是33瓦，但是的话我们研发这边考虑到用户的一些对高功率充电的诉求，然后我们就联合充电厂商、电芯厂商，然后就围绕电芯的一些寿命、可靠性、温升、功耗等维度，然后制定了一系列的一些提功率的一些升级方案。 然后最后的话，经过不断的一些风险测试和验证的话，达成了我们44瓦的一个充电上项，然后我们也说服了我们的产品项目的话，就是说从33瓦升级到44瓦，给用户更好的一个充电体验。
I also like to introduce the SuperVoke for the Fund N2 Flip. Some of you may be familiar with our SuperVoke feature and supercharging technology. It had the specifications such as 60 watts, 65 watts, and 33 watts. But this time, we developed a new specification that is 44 watts for the Fund N2 Flip. Actually, in the definition stage of this product, the product planner asked for a 33 watts SuperVoke flash charging technology, but our developers aims to give a better experience to our users. So after many cooperations and efforts invested together with the sales suppliers and IC suppliers, we managed to take a better control of the temperature increasing and the power consumption so that the 44 watts can be achieved while the security of the charging and the batteries can still be ensured. And after that, we also persuade our product planners to adopt this 44 watts. So that's the process about how we deliver this 44 watts new spike for SuperVoke to our users.
然后关于一个穿着 FPC 的话，就是我们转折，在外面宣传的话，我们转折可以折40万次。然后但是我们的话，我们其实里面的话有一个这样的 FPC，其实这个 FPC 的话也是能折40万次的。然后我们其实从用户的一些使用场景和每天折叠次数来看的话，每天用户的话基本上会折叠我们的折叠机大概90次左右。这样的话就说一年的话大概是32000次左右。然后这样的话就是我们折叠机然后折叠40万次的话，也是可以满足用户的一个使用需求的。
And I'm also displaying you the flexible printed circuit board we used in our Fund N2 Flip. Actually, we have talked about how many times our N2 Flip can be folded in its lifetime. The number was 400,000 times. That means actually our FPC can also achieve so many times of folding and unfolding. Because according to our research, users averagely fold the flip phones 90 times a day. So that equals to 32,000 times a year. So the 400,000 times of folding can ensure enough and sufficient use time and lifespan of this device for our users.
对，这个穿着 FPC 的话，其实它包含的功能的话是挺多的。然后我们的充电以及我们的显示屏，然后马达、音频录音、陀螺仪等功能的话，它都是通过这个 FPC，将上下两个主板连接起来的。然后如果其实这些功能的话都是比较显性的。如果说在折叠过程中某一根线有出现异常的话，那它可能就会影响用户的正常使用。
Actually, this FPC is very useful and important for a flip design phone because it can ensure a smooth charging, a smooth motor experience, a good audio function, a recording function, and a gyroscope functions. So it connects the two boards at the first upper and downer half of this device. So if one wear goes wrong in this board, then it may impact users' experience greatly.
对，我们这个 FPC 的话，其实它是一个4层的，看起来是1层，其实它是4层的。然后每一层的话，它有一个厚度，然后是18微米的一个厚度。然后这个的话，在目前的可折叠行业里面的话， 它的一个层数和厚度的话都是算是最多的，而且这个厚度和层数的话，它就相当于说一个水管的直径和一个水管的根数，然后因为你越厚层数越多，意味着你的走的信号质量就会越好，然后信号指标功能指标的话就会越来越好。当然的话，随着我们的那个厚度和层数的增加的话，如果我们处理不好它和结构的一些干涉的情况的话，它就越容易出现走线断裂的一个情况。
So when you look at this FPC, you may think it's very thin, but actually it consists of 4 layers, and the width of it, the thickness of it is actually 18 micrometer. So among all the peer products in the market, the PC used in front N2 flip is the most thickest and with the most layers. Here you can compare it with the water pipes. The more layers, the more thick this FCB is, the more good, the better signals and functionalities can this FCB be. So, but also it has its disadvantage if you use a very thick or too many layers of this FCB, because it would consist of too many wires and tracing among the design. So it can be easily damaged if the design was not handled perfectly.
对，其实第一版回来的时候，当时我们在做一个弯折次数折叠实验之后，只有做到3万次就断了。但是就是因为3万次断了之后，然后也是在不断的在调整那个一些结构的尺寸和间隙期间的话，就说我们的上级主管也在不断的质疑我们能不能把这个层数再减成3层，能不能把这个厚度再搞薄一点。但是如果我们降低层数和厚度的话，就意味着我们的可能会牺牲一些性能，比如说你的音频听起来的话，干脆度、响度就没有那么响，然后马达震动的强度也不会那么清脆。当时我们团队的话就坚信，就是说我们可以通过和供应商一起共创，然后再不断的调整优化，然后达到一个满足用户需求，然后最终的话我们经过不断的优化和调整的话，最终我们从最开始的3万次，然后中间的10万次，最后达到一个40万次的一个目标。
So in the first version of the FCB's design, actually, it only achieved 30,000 times of bending and folding, and after that, it broke. During the whole process of improvement and polishing this design, some of our colleagues were also questioning whether the structure can be simpler, or the gap can be smaller, or can we make the layer thinner or have fewer number of the layers. But after our consideration and testing, we think to make it thinner or with less layers would impact the performance of the FCB. The audio will not be as crispy as you would hear now, and the motor will not be as strong as you are experienced now. So we decide to cooperate more with our vendors and suppliers. Our co-work has led us to a great improvement of the performance of the FCB. We have successfully increased the folding times.
对，大家可以想象一下我们这个 FPC，我们在研发过程中打了多少次吗？
So can you imagine how many iterations of this FPC
对，
have
大家可
we
以
done in the whole process?
Type
大
your
家可以
guess
大
in
胆
the
的
chat
想象
box.
一下。
It's an interaction.
就是供应商配合我们打样打了多少次。一般常规的直板机的话，我们可能打2到3次就能解决，就能最终量产了。但是我们这个 FBC 的话，大家可以想象一下，我们最终为了解决一系列的问题，然后 和可靠性啊，以及寿命，然后性能的问题，我们和供应商联合打了多少次。
So actually give you a reference for normally bar phone, it takes 2 or 3 times or 2 or 3 generations of iteration for the prototyping making of such a FPC. But the story is different for the folding phone, so you can make a guess how many times have we tried to make the FPC for N2 Flip more reliable and with a better performance.
So no more guesses. It's time to reveal the answer.
没有人想知道答案吗？对，我们当时足足打了有30版才把我们的整个试产过程中的所有的关于 FPC 的问题给解决掉，相当于是常规直板机的10倍的一个打样次数。
So actually, we have developed 30 generations of the FPC's prototype to make it real reliable and functioning. So it's much more than the common iterations you will see in the bar phone.
Okay, Kaijun, I have to remind you that this mini keynote is turning into a real keynote. Yeah, but it's interesting. Thank you for bringing all the stuff with you. Are you finishing this minute?
是的，我这边讲完了，大家看一下有没有一些想问我的这块，还是说？
最后一块问吧。Okay. So Kaijun just finished his part and he would love to open questions, but I declined. It's not the time yet. We have our next agenda. So thank you for bringing all this device, all the parts, and also wonderful story, which I also heard of it for the first time. Even I had a session with the 3 hinge engineers. They all the 3 didn't tell me these kind of stories. That's a lovely story. And I believe, yeah, maybe you guys who have tried out OPPO products know that we are very strict with quality control, and also especially for the first edition of the products that are going globally. I believe it's our intention to make sure that all the users will be stunned, will be impressed by the first appearance, and also while using it, it has to deliver the smoothest experience. Okay, since we are a little bit behind the time, I'd like to invite our third colleague, Han, to share us the stories behind the software part. Now the mic is yours, Han.
Okay. Oops, my background is not the same with my colleagues.
No worries.
Fell on the mission consistency. Well, I don't have the hardware, like the interesting hardware as Kaijun, but so I just share some thoughts when we are designing the flip phone. So when we got our hands on the flip phone, we actually spent quite a lot of time thinking about what's the critical differences between the flip and fold form factor, like in terms of the user experience. So like from the fold phone, it's actually more like a regular phone, which you can use quite normally without unfolding it. And once you unfold it, you will get a larger screen with some better immersive experience. But for the flip phone, you won't get the full experience until you're really flipping it. And actually, which it takes you some extra efforts to actually use the phone as the other regular phones. So and besides, the flip phone do look quite nice and elegant when it's folded. So the cover screen is quite important, and the information shown on the cover screen will actually decide whether you need to unfold the phone or not. So we think the cover screen should be more about the mission completion and finishing the task without unfolding it. And or at least it can give you enough information to let you decide whether you need to open the phone and deal with it. And because it's actually still is a quite a rather small screen, so the overall experience should be like as lightweight as possible and focusing on showing the core information. So how we deal with the the most phone like a cover screen compared with other flip phones. We think that the interaction on such a screen will be more familiar with a regular phone, which we are quite familiar with. And for the developers, actually, it's quite relatively simple to adapt their apps or customize their apps into such a lightweight version, which we expected on the cover screen, and without losing too much experience that we all familiar with. But there's some challenges as well, because the screen is too similar to a regular phone. So users actually can help but thinking they're the same, they're quite the same, and have some similar expectations. And but the complexity is not what we want on the cover screen. We want the cover screen keep as lightweight as possible. So our team actually is seeking a balance between powerful full function and lightweight and single task. We're actually looking for a balance between them. So currently we on the Flip 2, on the M2 Flip, actually you can see we are using a quite conservative strategy for the cover screen ecosystem. So we are still collecting the feedbacks and see how our users would like to use the cover screen, and how open we can make it to go, and how far we can make the ecosystem goes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Han, for the excellent introduction to the behind the scenes stories of software. I think also for me, it's the first time to know about this. Yeah, so much from our parts for the input. I think OChat is about chat, it's about conversation. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too much. We still have around 70 minutes to have a real conversation. So I'd like to invite Anna to be my co-host for the upcoming rounds. Let me share the screen for the agenda. So yeah, we had this introduction, and now let's discuss. Let's discuss about these three topics in terms of hardware, software, and overall product. So basically, the first one is about your preferences of specs and hardware if you are to design an M2 Flip. Now, I'd like to invite Anna to do some intro part of this topic.
Haha. Yeah, I mean, like mentioned earlier, I think for us, and like Han was just mentioning it, even for us, it's really early days, right? So yes, we've been developing on the products. Kai-Jun is with his team was investing a lot of things. I mean, 30 different iterations for the FPC. That's quite a lot. But it's still early days, right? So all of us are somehow trying to understand what people really want and where the flip form factor fits into people's lifestyle. I mean, I'm old, so I've been using flip phones before there was smartphones even. So I was quite familiar with the context and with the benefits of them. But for smartphones, it's still early. So we would really like to see, like, where would you put it? What do you expect from the phone? What are you missing? There's a huge discussion ongoing internally also that Han was just teasing on what do people want from the cover screen. And I think this is like, for us, this is the biggest discussion right now internally. There is very vocal people that say it should be just like the smartphone on the inside, like a small smartphone. Some others say it should be like much more reduced and more easy to process with bigger information and bigger things. So yeah, curious to see where you would put it and what would you do differently, or what do you like, what do you dislike if you have experiences. Shoot.
Yeah, so this session is
Start
about free
somewhere and see how we're
conversation.
doing.
Once Anna finishes, and you guys feel free to unmute yourself and share your opinions. The mic is all of yours.
Well,
Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, for me, the thing that I like about the Flip that I didn't think of before I used it was really the first foldable that I used full time to any extent. And the action of opening and closing it, I particularly like it because it makes it more intentional. So I actually find that my usage on the phone is more purposeful. It's not like a bar phone where I'm picking it up and if I get a notification, I'm wandering into my phone doing something and not paying attention to other things around me. So just having that a little bit more intentful for me makes a big difference. So the cover screen on the front, for me, I like it to be somewhat limited. And I think for me, it's interesting to hear from your perspective as well, like just how important having those constraints are so that you're not trying to throw the kitchen sink in with everything.
Thank you, Kyle.
That's an excellent topic, and I think I love the perspective from Kyle talking about this more intentional use of a phone. I think all of us, I mean, happy to hear your thoughts on this, guys. Speaking about myself, let's not just talk about others. Speaking about myself, I know how I behave, right? I get a notification on my smartphone. I think, oh, what is that? New email, check. Half an hour later, I wake up and I spend all the time scrolling through Insta Reels. With a flip phone, this is really, and I think this is what Kai was referring to. It is reducing, so you're more, you more intentionally use your phone, and you open your phone when you want to use it, and you close it when you don't want to use it. I even like the fact that you can now physically, like when you end a call, you have that kind of physical, it's ended, it's done, it's over, whether it's polite or not, but you have that physical ending of things. So Tor, you also wanted to share some thoughts.
Yeah, I think that point is really good, the whole meaningful interaction with the phone. But my point was about the screen. Why actually not give us the choice? I'm an open source developer on the side, as many other things, and I would absolutely love to have an SDK or something like that so that we can actually develop our own little front, like a launcher you could modify inside, but on the outside. And then I really see the Flip as something exciting because I've been testing phones for the last 5 years. And I'm bored of it. Most of the time they are pretty much the same. It's just a little bit different. I've tested Flips from other brands, same thing as Folds. And they don't actually get the spirit of fun that you had, let's say, with the Nokias before the smartphone era, where they may fail, but it was interesting. And that, I think, has that potential, not failing, obviously, but let's hope not. And I would really, really like to be able to take that phone for longer than the normal models and make it really mine. And that, I think, the front screen for that has the potential to make it really my own reflection of the world. It's my assistant, more just in a communication tool, because it just tells me things how I want to see them. And I'm not so keen on having people do things for me, tell me how I should use my kids. So yeah, open it up, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I mean, a lot of great ideas. I think I'll probably incline towards why not if OPPO has chosen to give a bigger screen on the front in comparison to the competition out there, which we know the obvious one is being the Flip 4 of Samsung. If it is a small screen, it limits the usage. Sure, we've done the physical activity, you want to reduce the usage. But at the same time, I would think that all of these phones are now giving floating windows. When you open an app, it becomes tiny on your screen so that you can multitask. That tiny window is as big as the front screen of that phone. I would love to see more and more usage without having me to open the phone. I'm not saying it should replace the actual usage of that bigger screen, but it should reduce my usage of the phone by allowing me to do stuff that I typically open my phone for. Insta Reels, sure, I have to open my phone. It doesn't look good on the tiny screen. WhatsApp, my emails. I just want to take a look at a quick peek at my messages, what came through. I just want to reply to a urgent WhatsApp message. Maybe do a phone call. Let's say if you want to do a phone call with the flip course, you can say that, hey, it's going to use your speaker because earpiece is inside the form factor. We'll say, hey, you're using the phone close, it's going to come through the loudspeaker. I mean, all that flexibility without me opening the phone should be, I mean, that should be given an option to the user. It will save the battery for sure. Now that is a contradiction because I know the outside screen is 60 hertz. Why not LTPO and reduce it to 1 hertz? I don't know the tech specs, but why don't use LTPO technology and use have always on? I know there are fancy always on screens on that. Recent phones have LTPO 3 technology using that brings down the refresh rate. So if Oppo is trying us to use that covered screen more, then I mean, I wish that we can have more use cases versus having me to not use that and it just looks like a plain blank screen all the time available.
What would be like your number one use case that you're targeting at? Like what would make a difference?
So I have a huge screen. S22 Ultra is one of the largest screens around there. My purpose of that tiny screen would be just to get the notifications out of my way. Like WhatsApp, okay, fine, yeah. You know how we get the pop-up and we can reply from within that notification? Have the similar use case done from that front screen. Uh, Email responding is a lot difficult, I understand. But just quick Gmail pop-up, like, okay, this is my office use. I just want to look at some emails. I want to delete, or if I want to reply, you can say open your phone to use the larger keypad. I mean, it's a software trick. You have to just check if the flip is closed or open. Uh, have a quick dial. I mean, you can have a speed dial available. If you don't want to give the full functionality of calling, maybe give a quick speed dial. I have 9 contacts. I can say, okay, dial the latest number. Again, you can say you're going to be using this speaker for the call because for earpiece, you have to physically open the device. Those are my immediate uses without having to open the phone. And if I have to do shopping, I have to use the bigger screen. If I have to do Insta, I have to open my phone. But basic purpose, I don't want to open and make use of the large screen just for, and if I can do it in the smaller screen and save some juice. Because again, it has enough juice already, but in comparison to flip phone, it has the greatest battery. I think it's 43 or 4400 mAh, right? So it has a great battery. I don't want to be spending too much by opening the phone. It reduces the life of the phone also, but we've heard that it's nothing to be worried about. But again, the main use cases are maybe some chats of emails I can read, quick phone calls I can do. And for standalone apps, I think we all know we are more likely to use the main screen versus we are not going to get that great user experience on that tiny screen anyways.
Okay. So it's more a matter of like do quick things quick. And if you have like more complex tasks, you would open up.
Yeah, anyways, Oppo has that in the software. You can say you go to the larger screen to get this done.
Yeah. Okay. How about the others? More opinions.
All great points. But all great points so far. One thing that I would think that would be really cool is giving people the choice whether they want to have the internal screen of like options and accessibility on the outer screen. You can give them that option, and then also if you want to have the easier functionality on the outer screen that's currently available. Also have that option available. I know it's probably double the work for you guys over there. So I know there's a lot of time constraints and things like that, but having both options available to give the consumer a choice would be a really great option, in my opinion. Also, I haven't had a chance to actually use one, but if you could possibly have like Google Assistant, or if you could do like a Google search on the outer screen. I know a lot of times I'm looking for like a local business or like a restaurant or something like that, and you might want to pull up like a quick review or quick photo of something. I think that would be really cool to have the option on the outer screen for Google Assistant, or just to pull up the Google search.
Just taking notes here.
So, Alia, anything to share?
Well, to me, I'm not really like software or hardware expert. To me, for the flip phone, since I'm a photographer and having this flex form, it's kind of helping me to get some of my shots, which is when I don't need any tripod. And what I really like is about the front screen that it has, and it's a dual preview function. And yeah, so I can really get certain shot that I was planning to have, which usually I need somebody to take my picture of it. So about restriction or anything that we talked before, I don't have any I don't have any problem with that. It's just that to access the front screen, I actually need to do a face recognition, or means I need to unlock, but there is no option for a pattern or maybe pin, because yeah, I'm still on that. So I'm still not using it. So it forced me to do like a face recognition to unlock that. But if it's a nighttime, like let's say that it's a bedtime and everything is off, it doesn't really recognize my face. So it's really hard for me to unlock it. So yeah, I think my issue is only that.
Okay, that's a good one.
Doesn't it allow? I thought fingerprint was on the side, right? Doesn't it allow fingerprint scanner to override that face unlock while the flip is closed? I haven't used, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. There is a fingerprint option, but this one is my preference, where I'm still using like pattern or pin instead of face recognition and fingerprint. So for my main screen, I use my pin, but for the cover screen, I need to use the face recognition. So I don't have any choice but to record my face for the phone just to unlock the cover screen. So if let's say there is an option to unlock that using my using pin or maybe some pattern, I think it would be nice, because as I said, nighttime, there's no light, it cannot recognize my face, I couldn't unlock it. So it's a bit of hassle to me.
Yeah, just to add to that too, in cold weather climates, a lot of us have gloves on that do have you're able to use touch with the gloves on, but obviously you can't use your fingerprint either. So having something like a pin in that instance would be really helpful too.
I was going to say, I'm in the opposite climate of that. I have 35 degrees Celsius right now. So no chances of wearing a glove here. But yeah, I hear you. Yes, that is the global use case. It's good to know.
Yeah, it's a really good discussion. I was just reading Tor's comment that people don't want to be pushed by manufacturers, right? So everyone would like to do it the way they would like to do it. And I think for us, it's always, I mean, trust me, it's like it's a massive discussion every single time to decide what are we like, not sorry, what are we like predefining, or what do we do as a default, and what do we leave to people? Because you always need to cater for so many different people. Kyle is using gloves. Anmol is not using gloves due to environments, right? Some people would like the phones to do everything for them and everything to be very structured and narrowed down because everything else is complexity. I mean, there's a whole smartphone brand out there that are talking about how simple it is to use and not having flexibility, right? Everything just structured. Well, now they have widgets, luckily. But I think that there's also like always a different which way you go. Do you open up as much as possible? Do you offer an expert mode like we do, for example, in the camera, where you have the standard mode and you have pro mode? Would that be something you see as a feasible option? That we would have like a pro cover screen mode or something like that?
I could see that working in the same way that you have generally mode for older people or less techy that downgrades the experience to something really simple. But yeah, I understand it's a lot of work for you, but if you open it to modders to the side, and it's a great thing because you can actually recruit the people then if you see they're doing a really good job. It's our phone. It used to be yours until it left, and we bought it, and it becomes ours. So it's quite nice to see that you are thinking that instead of, well, this should be doing, as I mentioned on the spectrum comments. It's absolutely fine if you just want to use it out of the box as it is. But there are a lot of people, especially tech fans, who really, and let's face it, it's an early adopter phone for the moment. Flip phones are something that you're not going to sell gazillions yet. For our needs, probably give us a little bit more, or at least the option.
Good point. Yeah. So just making it's always about balance, right? So just trying to understand where we need to go. Like you said, that it's early adapters. Tech people are very vocal usually. I mean, you guys are in the community, so yes, you are super vocal, which we appreciate, and we really, really need guys like you telling us what to do. On the other hand, you have like so many people that are completely non-vocal, that will never talk to us, and that they're using the phone on a daily basis, and maybe they're happy, maybe they are not. So I think for us, it's always like super hard but also very, very interesting to understand these people as well, and to see where things are. Two things I wanted to spill with you guys. Number one was regarding Google Assistant. And also, who said that? There was someone. Yeah, Tor, you said that for voice to text for replies. So we are working on these things, and they are coming very, very soon to find N2 flip phones around you. If you're not using it yet, maybe that's a good reason why you should switch. So these features will come, and we are continuously like evolving the feature set for the cover screen. And of course, again, we're looking for like what is the next step that we should take in terms of usability, also interaction. So right now you need to swipe through all the cards. You can rearrange, yes, but I think maybe Han can add to that. One question would also be like, what do you guys think is the best way to navigate over the cover screen? Because imagine we would create 30 different widgets, and someone would be crazy enough to put 30 widgets on the screen. You would just end up scrolling forever, right? So I think also for the navigation, we need to have a different concept than what you might be used on the cover screen. Again, Tor made it. I'm always like trying to read the chat. You said that it's like a smartwatch.
关于指纹识别的话，我想补充一点，我补充一下啊，就是前面有两位伙伴提到，我们指纹识别可能有一些不是那么灵敏的问题。就是我们指纹的话，它是有一个不断学习和采集的过程，因为它比如说你要采集到你的指纹也采集到60次，我们为什么我们的指纹要采集到60次之后，它才能把一个学习的模板固定下来之后，相当于说你会愈用愈灵敏这样一个过程。
actually, as a response to the previous discussion for the fingerprint sensors, actually, our fingerprint sensors need a process of learning. It takes 60 times of recording and detecting your fingerprint to fully know your fingerprint. So it takes some time and to get a really good experience of using fingerprint to unlock the device.
对，相对纸板机的话，因为它的指纹只有一种方式，你是这样按的话就可以了。但是我们的折叠的话，你可以360度的去按的话，它采集的形状和图片的话就相当于说是一个不断变化的一个过程。然后所以说它的学习的话就要稍微长一点，相对纸板机来说。所以说前期的话可能会有一些识别率高的问题，但是随着你的使用，然后它的识别率会逐渐的提高，和纸板机一样的一个水平提高的。
I believe some of you may have the experience of fingerprinting unlocking with bar phones, but actually when you are fingerprinting unlocking the bar phones, you only have like 1 or 2 ways of touching the fingerprinting sensors. But for a flip phone, actually you can touch the fingerprint sensors from 360 degrees all around, and you have different ways to touch it. So every time it records the fingerprint image in different ways from different angles. So it takes a longer time for it to learn your fingerprint fully. But the longer you use it, the better the unlocking experience with fingerprint sensors will be.
That's good to know. Thank you for sharing with us, Kaijing.
I think one more thing I would like to add is the target audience may not be enterprise users because it's a fancy phone in comparison to a business phone. But if I were to buy a phone, it will be a part of my office ecosystem also, because there are going to be certain office applications that I will download and use. Some of which is Zoom. Right now, I see exact similar spacing of each of your tile exactly as the size of the cover screen. So maybe I would love to see the cover screen can be used as a participant who's speaking. The cameras are always in the front. I can just use that as a application to talk, because I'm on calls all the time. I use my smartphone sometimes to take the calls, also Zoom calls or Microsoft Teams meeting. The other thing is office authentication applications. I do not want to open my phone every time I have to do a dual factor authentication of my office applications. I would love to see it in the cover screen itself, right? Some code is coming in, I just manually enter it in my laptop. So those are the kind of, if I am going to adopt a flip or a foldable phone, I would love for it to be adaptable to my office ecosystem also, not just personal preferences, because I can't have 2 phones. Not all organizations will give 2 phones. Right. So if I'm going to buy myself a phone, I would love it to be a part of both my personal and professional life.
That makes sense. I mean, we were already working with Zoom as an application to use the flex form mode. So you get the top side for the video and the bottom for the controls. But yeah, I mean, again, an interesting use case to bring that to the cover screen to a certain extent and see what we could do. Han, do you want to share some thoughts, or do you want to comment on some of the ideas?
Yeah, I think for Alia, actually, the pattern and pain, we actually is working on it. It will also release soon, so I think that will be a good news for you. And Tor, I think he mentioned quick questions about the notifications, like there's a filter for it, and actually they already has this kind of feature in the settings. You can select which app to give you the notifications, and by default, actually, our cover screen won't show all the notifications, like the notifications about the advertisements or things you're not important at all won't show on the cover screen. So I think we have some default actions about the cover screen informations, and you can also go to the settings for more personal settings.
But can people differentiate between what notifications to show on the main display and on the cover display?
Yeah. Oh, this function is not available yet, but I think that's a good idea you mentioned. Yeah, because currently we are just a general setting for the all notifications for the outer screen and the inner screen, so they haven't been separated yet. But I think that would be a good idea. I can give that to our product managers.
Nice. I get like if you take that further, let's spin that idea. If you think about like a D&D mode almost, or like allowing when you close the phone that you could trigger certain automatizations. I met a lot of people that are basically keeping the phone open all the day. So they just come in the office in the morning, they use the closed phone for transportation because it's easier in the pocket, and then they open it, put it on the table. And I could imagine that, for example, when you close it, you would trigger do not disturb automatically, or you trigger a tomato timer or something like that, so that you have like 30 minutes of focus. Yeah, not sure what you guys think. Why am
I have something like that. I have something like that for my work/personal phone. Basically, I have two stands on my desk. I've got tons of phones on my desk at the moment, but for the main one, I have two stands, and one is in one color, which is for work. One is a normal color for entertainment or personal stuff. And when I put it on there, there's an NFC tag that says "Go into work profile." So do not show me the WhatsApp from your mates, things like that. And it's a massive brain saver, because you don't have, as you were saying, I wake up 30 minutes later just looking at Instagram on a work day, not great. And that kind of mode on the front, being able to flip between the different kind of displays would be absolutely massively helpful. I'm just having that on my screen, and yes, I'm just seeing the professional stuff. There's an emergency code maybe for important things, for the personal things, to go through it. Sorry, the coders are going to hate me.
I think Tor brings an excellent point of NFC tags. I used to use that historically, but I don't know, this is a far-fetched idea again, and don't kick me out of Zoom if I give such ideas. But I think what I've seen in Flip 3, I think one of my nephew uses one. In connection with the Bixby routines, if you have heard, someone I think has a Flip 3 or a Flip 4 in the presentation. I saw that. I think you can use gestures on the cover screen. They've developed an application without you to open the phone. You just type something with the screen off. I don't know if the screen on, with the flip closed, and it will do that NFC thing for you. It will run some tasks for you. So you can write a gesture, or I don't know, you can customize a gesture on the outer screen, and it'll do a few things for you under the Bixby routine. I know it's a Samsung ecosystem, and I'm not trying to replicate it, but maybe if we can borrow some ideas, not a bad thing, because we are using a similar form factor. We are a competition. The N2 Flip is a competition to it, so why not allow something even better along with the software?
Actually, we are having some similar concept ideas about the gesture on the cover screen. But there's something we also quite worry about. I don't know your opinion on it. Is that we kind of worry that there will be some misoperations on the cover screen, because the phone is always, most of the time, is folded. So if there's some gestures on the cover screen, we're afraid there will be some misoperations. How about that?
You can use the authentication, face authentication or fingerprint, or as you say, the pattern. If they really want to do this, confirm by unlocking this at least, because the phone will likely need to be unlocked internally also for it to access those functions, right? If the cover screen is largely locked, If they accidentally make a gesture, phone can turn on, say, you really want to do that? Why don't you authenticate yourself with a face or a pattern or a pin? You do that, fine. I'll take care of everything else for you. That's like a double factor authentication that you indeed wanted the phone to do that. You're confirming.
Yeah, I think Tal mentioned a quite interesting solutions to that, like a double tap on the screen. I think that would be quite brilliant.
That's actually one of the most sticky functions that I've found over the past years is the double tap to wake the screen. It got so deep into me. I mean, the brand who started it doesn't do smartphones anymore, so it's not a problem to talk about it. But it's just like I'm double tapping everything. Like I'm double tapping even a TV. No, not a TV, but that's too far. But like my Remarkable to write things, I just try to double tap every single screen to wake it up, and then I'm surprised that it's not working. So I think that could be something interesting. Same for the gestures. I'm not sure about you guys, but for me, I don't use these off-screen gestures quite a lot. The only off-screen gesture that I started to use, and I got really developed a habit for that, is to skip a track forward or backward. So when I'm listening to music, I do this kind of triangle thingy to skip a track. This is so convenient once you start with it. So that could also be something to bring to the cover screen, I guess, going in that direction.
I think so. Haven't shared your opinions yet. Feel free to say anything you love to share with us.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not really into that side because for me it's much simpler because this one targeted audience is not the heavy user. So right, so it's more to the lifestyle for the common people that wants just to take pictures, wants to having selfies, or even playing games or not casually playing games, something like that. So for me, my preferences is why just release the 8 GB RAM and 256 GB ROM to the global? Why not can we make 12 GB 12 GB RAM and 512 GB ROM, which is why not release the other variants? Because as you know, this phone, like I said, this is a compact phone, which is for lifestyle. People will take much more videos, will take selfies with the cover screen. So the current variant, which is 8 GB and 256 ROM, it's for me it's too little to save videos, to save photos, and then yes, something like a pro version of it. Why not we release that to the global? Okay, that's the first one for my preferences. And then the second one is, as we know, the common phones or the common smartphone, they have the power button at the right, such as this Find X5 at the right, and then the power button is on the left. But then for the flip phone is the power button and the volume rockers is both on the right side of the phone. So I'm happy. I've already experienced the phone for like 1 day or when I'm going to the launch event, and then it's kind of it's like I'm a bit confused. So when I want to push the start button, I always push this the volume rockers. It's really confusing because for me, why not just do the traditional volume and the traditional placements for the power button, which is the power at the right side, and then the volume is on the right, so that I'm not getting confused. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah.
Good one. I think Kaijun could sorry, could potentially answer that question regarding the volume placements, because I know there is a lot of FPC involved again and getting those buttons wired and place the wire somewhere, because Kaijun has the open phone with him, so maybe we can even see it.
好的，其实因为我们折叠机嘛，然后因为它的你看我们上面是有主板， 然后下面是电池，所以说我们的空间是很拥挤的。如果我们一边放电池，一边放音量键，一边放电源键的话，其实就会把我们的整个就会挤压我们的相当于一个电池的容量。因为我们为了把电池的容量的话，那我们就想把两个放在同一边，放在同一边的话，就尽量的把更多的空间给到我们电池。另外的话，还有一个，
佩君，要不停一下这一段。
So as you may notice in the inner structure of the front end to flip, it's a folding phone, so the space is quite limited. And here you can see in the upper part, we have the motherboard, and we also have a part of the battery located in this place. So if we want to place the volume button and the power button on different side of this phone, it would take up a lot of the space in this structure. That's why we put the volume button and the power button aligned at the same side. It would give more space to the battery.
佩君可以继续。
是的，所以说后面的可能折叠机的话，它的形态应该都是按键在同一边，这样的话。而且后面我们的机型的话，也可能更多的话把音量键和电源键放在同一边，一个是就是相当于把更多的尺寸给到我们电池，给到我们主板。对。
So in the future, it might be a trend for us to see more mobile phones with the power button and the volume button at the same side, because it just gives more space to the battery.
I hope that answered part of your questions. I was also learning something new. I think all the three topics were kind of mixed, so we don't separate hardware, software topics, since we have only around 30 minutes left. So feel free to join the free discussion.
Yeah. It's an open talk anyway, so we can just go with the flow and see where it takes us. I had one more question for Aliyah regarding photography, because you've mentioned that you're using the phone for photography quite a bit, and you can just capture different angles. Are you using the gesture to trigger the camera by chance?
Yes, if I'm close enough to the front screen, I use that. But let's say if I'm a bit further away, I use the OPPO watch, because there is a control button for the camera, so it's really helpful. Yes, but I have some comment about the camera model because and also want to ask the consideration why for the wide angle lens it's only 8 megapixel. And the rest of the camera is like 50 megapixel, and front camera is 32 megapixel. The way I'm asking this is because I'm using the wide angle quite a lot for my, especially to do my jump shot, because it has a dual preview. It's really easy for me to frame myself inside the phone. And then, but since it's only 8 megapixel, it's actually, the result is not to, it's not to what I want it to be. Sometimes the details gone, and yeah, so actually my point is just to ask why only 8 megapixel for the wide angle, while for selfie is 32 megapixel.
Good one. Maybe I can shed a bit of light at least on the choices that we make. Maybe Kai-Jun can support me when possible. So just coming back to the memory question before, because I don't want to leave that unanswered. So I heard you. I understand the requirement for more memory variants. I think it's about, for us, when we bring devices to markets, obviously I'm not bullshitting you guys. We need to sell units, right, to a certain extent. So I would just tell, I don't know what kind of stories if I tell you that it's okay. We just put it there, and if no one is buying it, then fine. So with a device like the Find N2 Flip, which is still quite niche to the industry and to the users, we need to start somewhere. So of course we could have a lot more memory variants to cater like 512 gigabyte for people that are heavy users, and go with even a smaller one for people that might want to save some budget. But the reality is that we need to always start somewhere, and therefore usually, as most of the other players, we go with where the biggest volume is and where we do think most people will opt for. If we go with 128 gigabyte, that's really small for today's ideas. If you look at 4K video, that's not much. If we would go with 512, of course, we would blow the price points, and it gets really, really pricey still. So we chose to go with 256 gigabyte. Of course, once there will be more demand, let's say, once more people get into it, and once we will also see more pro users or more passionate users, whatsoever, more techie people coming into the form factor, then it will also be the right time to look into more memory variants, which beautifully links into what Alia was asking regarding the, is it Alia or Elia?
It's Alia.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Before I put it the wrong way. So what Alia was asking regarding the 8 megapixels, right? If, let's play a bit of a mind game. If we would do a 512 gigabyte version, which is definitely catering for heavy users, the next thing that people will complain about will be that there's just 8 megapixels for the ultra wide angle camera. So the people that would buy a phone with 512 gigabyte would not buy it because the 8 megapixel camera on the ultra wide, right? So these things are connected, and we really need to like try to make it right. I know that we are not always making it right, and I know that we cannot make like all the choices for people. But like designing a smartphone is always about, it's a lot about balance. It's not only about balance, but there's like so many things you need to weigh in and go left, go right, and find the right balance. It was just a very, very nice explanation why the volume rockers are not on the other side, because we decided to go with battery, right? Which I'm very happy with, personally speaking, because now the Flip is the only Flip really that brings people through the day if you compare with the others in terms of battery performance. So yeah, these things are connected. Now coming to the 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, I guess it's a similar reason. We need to start somewhere. So the main camera, 50 megapixels, is a really, really good sensor that provides great pictures. Due to the size limitations, the 8 megapixel sensor is something we were able to package. If we would go with a bigger sensor, more megapixel, like if we go with more megapixels but a smaller, with the same size of sensor, you would still have a crappy picture, to be very honest, right? So if you create a sensor with, let's say, 32 megapixels but the size of the 8, the pixels get too small. So we would need to look into a bigger sensor, but a bigger sensor also needs more space. So I guess that's why we decided to focus on the main camera and to make that really good with the 50 megapixel sensor with the IMX 766, no, 890. Anyway, and just compromise a little bit on the ultra wide. I think technology is moving on, right? So for the successor, who knows where we can find some additional space to put different cameras and more cameras, but just that hopefully gives you a bit of an idea of what kind of things we need to consider. If Kai-Jun can show the back of the phone again, you will also see how large the camera is and like how much space it does need.
对，其实我们目前的一个广角的话，8麦的一个广角的话，也是一个小折叠行业的一个一流的一个水平。然后我们主摄的话是 IMX 890，也是一个5000万的一个 是我们使用调教是比较出色的一个 sensor。然后还是基于那个
停一下，可以给大家展示一下。
对，这个是我们的一个主摄，这个是广角。
So as you may see, the larger one here, the larger sensor here, camera sensor here is the main camera, and the one on the top of it in a smaller size is the wide angle cam.
对，然后就是如果我们的一个是我们的结构堆底是相当紧张的，在这个折叠里面要堆下这么多功能。另外一个的话就是说，摄像头的话，其实它的一个功耗是很大的。如果它在工作起来的话，它电流都可能达到1.4安、1.5安这样子的。
So as you may see, we have squeezed a lot of components in such a small space. So the stacking is very complex. And another thing to consider for adding more camera sensors is about the electricity and the current strength. Because when the cameras are in working, actually the current can reach a very large strength, such as 1.4 or 1.5.
如果说我们的目前的折叠的话，它的一个散热能力相对直板机是比较弱的。如果没有一个很好的散热能力的话，其实我们配备再大的一个广角，或者说再好的一个主摄的话，可能都没有办法发挥出它的完全发挥出它的更好的性能。所以说的话，综合来看的话，我们目前选择这个配置的话，应该是完全可以满足用户的一个使用。而且的话，我们折叠之后可以通过我们的主摄来进行自拍，这块的话也是一个独一无二的体验。对。
So frankly speaking, the heat dissipation performance of today's folding phone is still not as good as a bar phone. So we have to take that into consideration too. That's why we decide on the current combination of different camera sensors. And also, because you are using a folding phone, you can use the main camera to take selfie. So it can definitely serve most of the needs for users' daily use.
Thank you, Kaijin. Make a wish time, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, you can always make wishes, right? Again, I'm eagerly taking notes about things that are going on. And there's some really good comments. What is Alpaca showing there?
I think it's.
I have a bunch of different phones. So there's so many options now. So I have the S23 Ultra, OnePlus 11, OnePlus 9 Pro, nothing phone. So I have so many phones here. So there really are options for everything you want. So the folding is really cool. I really like the folding options as well, but I haven't had a chance to own one yet. But I think it would be really cool to have a phone like that. But I didn't want to derail the conversation. I know we were talking about different lenses, and I just was showing this is the, I don't know if it'll show up, the S23 Ultra. So it has every lens you could imagine, but it's with the OPPO Find N2 Flip. I was watching a comparison earlier about it was the Z Flip from Samsung and the OPPO Find N2 Flip. It was Danny Wingett that did it, and I was surprised to see that the cameras on the Find N2 Flip actually look better to me than the ones from the Z Flip 4.
You mean so quality wise?
Yeah, the quality of the camera is if you go watch Danny Wingett's video, he did one and released it yesterday morning. For me personally, I think the images in the video looks better on the Find N2 Flip versus the Z Flip 4.
Absolutely. Hopefully, yes. So I think especially for video, we've done a really good job. Running also Silicon X to process pictures in real time. Yeah, it should be better than the other competitor. Otherwise, I think we wouldn't have not done our job well. But yeah, that's so happy to see that other people are seeing that as well. It was definitely planned to be better than the others.
Yeah, I think Alia and Kaya are among the two of us who've been using N2 Flip from the user side for quite some time. Maybe you can share more of your actual feedback.
I'm happy to share. Oh, go ahead.
No, you
Go ahead,
can.
Kyle.
I just want to point
All
out
right.
about the about the buttons on the side, because we have the button is here. When I said sometimes I'm wrongly touched intuitively when it's like this. When it's like this, the top part is the start button and below is the volume. Intuitively, I always think that the volume button is always on the top. So I keep on pressing the start button, because this one, if I do it like this, then the volume button is on the top, then I can press the correct one. So this is the confusion that I have sometimes about the buttons. But you already explained the reason why you have these two buttons on these sides. So I think I just need to live with it.
No, you don't have to leave it. If it's not something very convenient, you should say it. I think based on my experience with Find N2, I also have some issues with this this placement of the buttons. So I do believe the more we speak up, the more we talk about our preferences, the better it helped for our internal staff members, especially the engineers, to get some real insight, because otherwise they will rely on the reports, on the things that they were told. So go ahead.
True. It's always different to hear from people, right? So very happy that now we're free to travel again and see people in real life.
One last question, maybe for the users, since I'm not a user of a foldable phone, I've always been worried about the durability of the main screen, not yet alone the crease. I heard the crease is much less predominant on the N2 Flip. I don't think we discussed this in this call, but I've been worried about, I've seen so many videos, people put sand in it and it gets affected. I mean, it's very easy for me to just wipe off my phone. Because the screen is very hard. I think the foldable phones, you have to use a combination of plastic and all. It is a softer screen to touch. And sometimes people have shown that even a nail can create a scratch on the screen. So that is the hesitation to move to a flip phone or a foldable phone. So current users, my question to you is, how durable did you find the screen?
I mean, obviously, one thing we have done, and understanding this, because we are hearing this quite a lot from people. I think besides the tech gaps between non-foldables and foldables that are still existing, a lot of people are concerned whether the foldables are really robust enough. And I mean, it's just if you use a foldable for the very first time, it's a weird feeling to start bending your display, where like for the past years, you've been hardly training, do not sit on it, do not bend it, do not do anything stupid because it's expensive. And now people telling you, you should do exactly this. One thing we have done is that we have worked with TÜV Rheinland to certify and to first to test, of course, and then to certify the display and the folding mechanism for 400,000 folds, which Kai-Jun was mentioning as well earlier, to take a bit of the pain from people that it would just not last if you keep on folding your device. I mean, now you can do that 100 times a day, 10 years in a row, and it would still last. That's at least what we certify. When it comes to the scratch proofness, and I think this is what you are looking at, yes, it is still a very different thing, right? If you look at ultra thin glass, as the name implies, it is glass, but it is ultra thin. And I think there's still room for the materials to catch up. Having said that, we came already quite a big jump forward. So there is a screen protector applied out of factory. If there is a scratch, you just go to OPPO Service Center, you get it replaced. No questions asked. So we already do stuff to protect the screen, yet it is not as robust as a rigid display yet. Sorry. But on the journey, so I think technology just continues to evolve around that. And like all the guys, if it's Gorilla Glass or Schott or whoever is in that business of producing glass, they are very, very well aware of the challenges that we all would like them to solve.
No, thanks for the transparency. I've been eyeing a foldable for a while now. I mean, almost a year and a half. Time to switch. I don't stay on a phone for more than 3 to 6 months, but it's been a year and a half now. I'm long overdue. I know it sounds crazy. I had a S22 Ultra. I didn't want to jump to the S23. I'm looking for a foldable, so hence I'm.
Yeah, try it. I mean, it's a learning curve as well. I think for flip phones, I've been getting questions like, because Chen Yang is using the N2, the foldable one from us, right? I've been getting questions from media as well, and some of your peers, why we launched the flip and why we did not launch the fold first in the overseas business, so outside of China. And the reason that I always used and what I see is that flip is easier to get used to. So if a flip phone is just a standard smartphone that you can fold in half for better portability. If you have a fold, you need to change your habit. And that's really, really hard for people to achieve. So yeah, give folds a try, or give foldables a try. If you want to challenge yourself, go with a fold form factor. If you want to have the benefit of size, go with flip. But when you go with fold, be prepared that you will go through several months of suffering and questioning your investment. Just as a personal advice.
I've only had the chance to try the Z Fold 2, I believe, and it was too bulky for me. I had to actually sell it because I just couldn't get used to using it every day. I used it for like a week and I had to return it. So I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, the size is one thing. I mean, the Find N2 from OPPO is like super compact. I love that phone, to be honest. The usability or the usage pattern is a different story. If you look at, I give you a personal story. I've been using the original Find N, so last year's model, the first one we have done with the Chinese software, and what I found was typical scenario. Someone sent me a YouTube link on WhatsApp. Right. So I took my phone out of the pocket. I read the WhatsApp on the outside display, on the small display. I was reading the WhatsApp. I was clicking the link. I was watching the video. And then like 3 minutes in the video, I was like, why are you not unfold? You have a bigger screen, right? Just because out of habit, because I'm not used to do that. And because my journey started with WhatsApp and reading the message. I got stuck with that outside display and I didn't even think ahead. So that's what I meant, be prepared to suffer. You really need to question every single habit you have in using your phone. When it comes to multitasking, having several apps at the same time, for example, but also how you go from A to B and which screen you use in which scenario, all of that will change when you go with a foldable. So it's really a different. It's a different learning curve again, which makes it quite exciting, to be honest.
I think it's just to your point, foldables are a blend of tablet and a smartphone versus flip is making the smartphone even more portable. So to your point of switching the habit, it's like if you have a tablet kind of experience in your mind that you carry around, if you carry around an iPad at home or a Samsung tablet, you may be inclined towards the use case of blending both. Okay, I don't want to carry two devices. I'll say I'll buy a foldable because I carry around my tablet. But versus saying I want my smartphone to be even smaller, don't blame me coming from an S22 Ultra. But yes, flip phone will give me that benefit of reducing that screen size into half, not asking me to tweak my usability because I'm used to the bar phone smartphone. This is not changing my habits in a flip phone entirely in comparison to a foldable. So I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, correct. I mean, like you said, it's not changing entirely, right? So it's still coming back to the initial talk from Kyle, saying that it's a more intentional use. I think, yeah, it was Kyle mentioning that, right? It's a more intentional use if you go with a flip phone, because the outside display, the cover screen, forces you to like think what you're doing, or you have a reduced experience. And of course you need to think about opening up. When you open the phone up, you really want to do something, right? So you have a little bit less of these TikTok moments or getting lost on social media. It's a little bit reduced, hopefully.
Yeah, since we have only 10 minutes left, I'd like to give Kyle for this round, the final sharing of your hands-on experience with the N2 Flip, and then we can wrap up the session.
Sure. So for me, the experience has been great. A lot of the things that have come up in this conversation are similar issues that I have. I think for me, it feels like a premium phone, and that's the optics of this is a premium phone, and for the most part it is. And when we're talking about the deficiencies a lot of the times with this particular phone, I think it's when it sort of creeps out of that realm where we're talking about the ultra wide lens, where I've also had the issues with softness. Also USB 2.0 for transferring files, things like that. That's come up on my channel quite a bit, is a topic people would like to see that improved. A lot of people are transferring files back and forth, and that seems to be of some importance. But for just everyday use, I love the screen, the brightness that you can get out of the foldable is like brighter than most OLED bar phones, which is awesome. But I do think there is everything that we're kind of identifying as the deficiency is a lot to do with the optics, that this is a premium phone because it's very much presented in that light. And like I said, it feels like the design is set out like a premium phone. There's such attention to detail in a lot of the design and a lot of the product that it just feels a little bit off in that sense. And I totally understand that a lot of that is just due to the technology and the limitations there, but I think that's where that separation starts.
Yeah, thank you, Kai, for putting it this way. I think for me, I also learned a lot from each one of you. We are individual users, we have different needs, but together we kind of found some common grounds, and also this in return will help the manufacturer, help us to make better decisions. Yeah, thank you so much for taking this 90 minutes time. No, it's almost 110 minutes time with us. So before we wrap up the session, let's jump to the final round. I'd like to invite every one of you, including our colleagues who's been listening, like Diego. I think each of us is a potential user if you are still not changing to the foldables. Maybe I'm quite interested in the current state of mind in terms of your opinions on foldables, on this new form factor. Anything you love to share based on today's knowledge, today's conversation with our broader audience, since it's a recorded session, and I'd like to really want to hear from every one of you. So each one has like 30 seconds time. I'd like to start with Tol. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd say to me that's bringing back the fun into mobile phones. The last 10 years have been dull. They've been practical but dull, and that is bringing my inner child to the fore. So I'm actually considering buying the first phone for 5 years because a tester, and that's a big deal for me.
Thank you, To. Han, go ahead. Any takeaways from today's session?
Well, I think there's one interesting point that I want that remind me, like we can design a phone for some intentional use, just like Cal, but there's lots of people like the diversity, so like Tor, and we really need to find a balance with it, and I think that would like more and more people love to use the flip phone if we can make this out.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for you guys in the software part. Okay, Aliyah.
Well, to me, I'm pretty excited actually with this new form OPPO, and I also see its potential to my photography with all the features and everything. And as I'm a female, I think this is stylish as well. Even it's pocketable, I seldom put it in my pocket, so I usually keep it on hand. So because it's just nice to hold it and it looks good to me. So for me, I'm pretty happy with this.
Ammo, the mic is yours.
I'd say it's interesting how the smartphone industry is evolving with the foldables. It allows to expand the ecosystem of what our traditional phones can do. It's come along 3 or 4 iterations, and OPPO has jumped on its first iteration. So it's very exciting to see more and more brands coming into it and making it more accessible to the end users. Instead of being a beta product or only accessible, how should I put it, being super expensive phones, and it is very difficult to try one. I think with OPPO taking this step into the market, I think it will just going to become more accessible, and I'm more inclined towards trying the N2 Flip because I'm more of a, I believe in keeping my smartphone usage the way it is instead of expanding it to a tablet like experience, not going to the traditional tablet like Ford versus the Flip. So I'm excited to see this really helps me make a better decision to go with a Flip phone.
That's good to hear. Actually, based on my previous observation from the survey results, the biggest obstacle for most of the general users is the price. So balancing act starts with the price. So I do believe with more players joining this sector, we will welcome more users, and yeah, there will be definitely more power in the supply chain and more pressure for them. And yeah, in the end, all the users will get more options. My next is Kyle. Mic is yours.
Yeah, I think overall, I'm just really excited anytime that there's innovation like this and where you can learn from that innovation and develop a product, and take those learnings and keep going forward and continue innovation. So it's really cool to see products like this get put out and refined, and lead to other things. So that's just, I guess, what I have to say. Just really enjoy the product and really enjoy seeing new features and new ways to help people do what they need to get done.
Thank you, Kyle. So the mic is yours.
Me? Okay, so I just make it quick. I love the phones. I already get first-hand experience. Of course, I will turn into the Flip. And as Hans said earlier, that there is more interactive pads, right? Will be coming. Can I add a little bit, because I think that the phone, the Flip separates from the rest of the flip phone is the interactive pads. What it can be, what can it be upgraded. because I love the interactive pads to be we can see it or like if our battery is low and then there's a special animation that makes it like on low battery. So I really hope that on the software side that Khan and his team can bring more to the interactive pads and the cover screen. Yeah, Hans, I'm looking forward to that.
Sure,
Thank
no
you
problem.
for the last minute input. So my next is Alpaca.
Yeah, I think it's really great. I really appreciate the chance to be a part of this and come in and talk about the Find N2 Flip. I think OPPO really did a fantastic job with their first try in the market. It's really incredible what you guys came up with, because you just really crushed the competition as far as the design, the usability of it. So that's really awesome to see. And I think 2023 is going to be the year of the foldable. So many companies, I've read rumors are out there of so many companies making foldables. So I really think that OPPO is kind of ahead of the curve with the foldables coming out when they did. So I just can't wait to see more and more of what OPPO comes up with in the future as far as the foldables, like the second generation of the Flip, the Find N3, I think, is coming out sometime soon, maybe this year. So I look forward to all of that.
Yeah, thank you, Alpaca. Actually, if you notice from MWC event, we actually announced we introduced one of our credos, not to be the first, but the best. I think we don't necessarily want to be the first, but actually we always need to be the best. This is the mentality within all the hardware engineers of the senior executives. That's my personal understanding of their characters. So usually we want to deliver something that is really good, that really can satisfy at least themselves, because they are also heavy users. They are the old tech geekies from that generation. Okay, we are finishing this session, but I'd like still to invite some other of my internal colleagues to hear their views on the session. Diego, the mic is yours.
Right, thank you. Yeah, so I am also a Flip user. And yeah, to me, I think the most positive experience was the tactile feeling of closing, right? Bring back to the days when I used like the Sony Ericsson. It's still like a feature phone, but I think that was like an interesting relationship with the phone now, having this movement again of closing and like ceasing the operations for the moment at least. But yeah, I think, as some colleagues mentioned, I think it's still like a learning curve in a way, or maybe the addiction before, or the easy to just unlock and mindless scroll through social media in a bar phone. Now I'm still like opening, right? So probably I need to re-educate myself a bit, but still, like, I think having this interaction with the phone is something that we missed, and I'm enjoying so far.
Thank you, Diego. So I'd like to invite the rest of my colleagues who are the unsung heroes for most of our international conversations, the team of Interpretation Center. Anyone who would love to share your ideas, like Claire made a statement that she might consider the next Flip. What's your take on this one now?
Okay, I have followed the whole conversation. Maybe I have been the most careful one for the whole conversation. For me, I think the Flip phone is quite wonderful for a female perspective. The aesthetic is really nice. It is very sleek. And for the photo taken function, it is also very good because I can use the rear camera to take the high quality image. So I think it is the most important two function for me. So I also look forward to improve the interaction software in the future. If it is better, I may consider switching to the Flip phone as one.
You may consider. We are all very strict users internally. I get your point. Okay, Ryan, do you have anything to share?
Okay, actually, I think our current Flip phones is very stylish, and it also has kind of this premium sense conveyed from it. And because I'm a shutterbug, although not a professional photographer, but I still hope the camera modules can be stronger, and one day I can replace the bar phone with flip phone, because I see that it can be used in some scenario as just as a camera with a tripod, but in a more convenient way. So I'm looking forward to that day.
Thank you, Ryan. So before we take the final group picture to wrap up the session, I'd like to invite Anna, my co-host, to give some final remarks.
Wow. I learned a lot. So pretty much what I expected from the session. I really appreciate your openness and your active sharing with us. It can be quite complicated sometimes, and then people maybe a little shy. Maybe it's just the Zoom kind of environment that keeps people from sharing, but you guys been awesome. Being vocal, being talkative, a lot of things that, luckily to say, a lot of things that we already think about in the background. So you just resonated stuff that we felt we should do or we could do, which is great. And I hope you guys will, when you see some coming updates, hopefully you will remind yourself that, I've been part of that and this is there because of me. So yeah, great session. I'm looking forward to the next one. I do hope to see you guys in the community. Thank you.
Yeah, keywords community. Yeah, I believe a brand community is about connecting people internally and externally. Only by doing this kind of direct conversations can we achieve that. Because without these kind of vivid images, quotes, it's still word-based communication. They would still prefer reports or statistics or expert views. So I'm doing this also for all of us, for helping those of you who have a interest to know more about OPPO, to know more about tech, to be connected with one another. So I do encourage every one of you to follow the follow-up discussions in the community, to join in the conversations. Like Anna just mentioned, is about having conversation with one another, sharing your honest views with each other so that we can do something better together. So thank you for taking the 2-hour time. I'd like to take the advice, I think from Alpaca, to showcase your current phone, regardless of brand, regardless of device, to hold it in your hands. We make a group photo. If you are convenient, please open up the video. Let's start this fun game to record this important moment for every one of us. Okay. So do we have everyone's phone here? Okay. I think Han had a nice gesture here. Say cheese. Okay, I think everything is captured in the video. That's it. Thank you so much for taking the time. I had a really good chat this time because of you, because of all of your contributions. Thank you and see you next time. Have a nice day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Take
everyone.
care. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.